guys, I'm Jordan. Welcome to I Want My Angst TV Reviews. Today, I'm going to be talking about the movie Witch Hunt. Witch Hunt is a drama movie set in modern day America where witches are real and witchcraft is illegal. A very sheltered teenager played by Gideon Adlon has to face her own demons and prejudices as she helps two younger witches avoid law enforcement and try to cross the southern border into Mexico for asylum.
I'm with the federal branch of the BWI, the Bureau of
Witchcraft Investigations. I'm familiar.
So let's just talk about this movie, you guys. I liked it, but I realized that just because I like something doesn't necessarily make that thing great. Here's what I liked about it. Clearly, I'm a spooky broad, and I love these spooky, Halloween, witchy movies. I love the craft, practical magic. I even like the Craft Legacy, which also Gideon Adlon was in that movie. So, this movie definitely was like my vibe, my shtick, my whole thing. Like, it's a female-led cast, so that's rad. You've got cool female friendships. You've got a cool mother-daughter story. And, I like girl power movies, even if they're not...
I was rooting for you!
Listen. You guys, this movie missed the mark in a lot of ways. It missed the mark. It was very much attempting to do a political horror thing in the vein of like Get Out or Us, but it just didn't hit those things. So many of the choices in this movie felt unintentional. They never really describe why witchcraft is illegal or how we got there. They never really describe how they choose to enforce witchcraft being illegal. Like, we see them giving the girls tests to see if they have witch marks, and we see the WBI, the Witch Bureau of Investigation, shooting people with like salt bullets instead of actual bullets. But it doesn't necessarily really explain the world that we're in. And so a lot of the movie, I was asking more questions than were being answered. And there are a lot of things that I had to fill in myself that the story just didn't explain.
I assure you, there are no witches here.
The family in the movie was very lovely. They had a very lovely family dynamic, but it didn't necessarily make sense because the daughter, even though she doesn't agree with what her mother is doing, she still very much goes along with it and still supports her mother's decisions. And like, the sons are elementary school age, and they don't ever talk about the people living in the walls in their house and this whole Underground Railroad situation they've got going on, which, like, I would not trust a presumably 7-year-old boy to keep a secret from me. And even with him having this lovely mother-daughter relationship, there was a moment that I wanted in the movie that we didn't get. I wanted more conflict between the characters of Claire and Martha, Gideon Adlon and Carrie-Anne Moss, because clearly Claire doesn't agree with what Martha is doing. She thinks that their family is being put in danger. Claire is still grieving her father, which they barely touch on. And at the end of the movie, you find out, like, clearly Claire is a witch. Sorry, spoilers. But, like, I saw it coming from the first 5 minutes that Claire was going to be a witch, right? So Claire's a witch. And then you find out it's from her father's side, who she doesn't really know. And then you find out that Martha has been hiding these postcards that Claire's family in Mexico has been sending her this whole time. I wanted there to be a larger discussion there. I wanted there to be some conflict. I was rooting for the relationship of Claire and Martha, so I wanted them to resolve everything. But, like, listen, I have a very close relationship with my mom, and there are moments where we do not agree with one another, and we have very heated discussions. And I wanted that heated discussion.
Keep quiet.
There's nothing in that thing that shouldn't be there, is there?
No.
The other part about it is that the movie was very... I don't love the phrase tone deaf because it's ableist, but the movie didn't have the ability to read the room. Being a woman of color, living in the times that we live in, the parallels between witches seeking asylum and our brown and black brothers and sisters coming to this country seeking asylum were very prevalent. And it seems like they wanted that to be a purposeful choice, but they didn't back that up with other purposeful choices. This movie very much centered whiteness, and it was really uncomfortable to see just so much whiteness on screen, talking about a story of people seeking asylum and being persecuted in America of all places. I'm sorry, but like a redheaded ginger girl seeking asylum and being persecuted in America, it's giving me Handmaid's Tale in all the bad ways, you know? The way that Handmaid's Tale is like, it would be terrible if you made women slaves and used them for breed stock. And every black person is like, that literally happened to all of my ancestors. And it was terrible. I don't understand how this is your like trauma fantasy. And it's very irresponsible for this movie to treat it as a fantasy when that's happening to people today, and especially when the people it's happening to are not reflected on the screen in this movie. This movie would have been much more powerful if they had cast people of color in the roles for these persecuted witches, but they didn't take that route, and so a lot of it just felt very empty and very flat. Another thing about it that did not feel purposeful was that there was a heavy allusion to Thelma and Louise, which, like, I'm 33, so Thelma and Louise is a movie that I grew up with, but like it's still a little bit before my time. And considering that the leads in this movie were teenagers or like actors who play teenagers, I don't know if Thelma and Louise is a movie that's going to resonate with Gen Z. I don't know. It was just kind of a weird thing to allude to. And also, like, Thelma and Louise is not a witchy movie. Like, it would have made more sense if they had referenced The Craft or Practical Magic or even Witches of Eastwick. Like, I don't know, but like something that's in the same genre. But I don't know. There was a lot of choices that were made that didn't feel like they were made on purpose. Also, this is being billed as a horror movie. This was not a horror movie. This was a teen drama with some jump scares because they wanted to call it a horror movie. It was a dramatic movie that had a jump scare here and there. But somehow, I still really liked it, you guys. Well, really liked it is an exaggeration. I still liked it. If I was going to sit down and plan a day of witchy movies, I would start with The Craft, and then I would do Practical Magic, and then I would do Eve's Bayou, and then I might, if I was still awake, I might do The Craft's Legacy, and I might do Witch Hunt as the 5th movie in my day of witchy movies. So I liked it, but it's definitely not a top tier movie. I don't understand how I could like a movie and be so confused by it at the same time. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching. I'm Jordan. This is I Want My Angst TV reviews on Smells Like Teen Angst. Make sure you like, subscribe, ring the bell so you don't miss any of our videos. Thumbs up on this video. Comment your thoughts about Witch Hunt because if you watch this movie, I'm sure you have them, and I will see you next time.